All right, so welcome everybody. If you're just joining us, you're welcome. Adedeji, Ajani, Evaristus, Fortune, Greatness, Salimo, Janet, Nafisat, Amid, Olaleye, Olashuko, Raphael, and Timilade. You all welcome to today's class. So quickly before I start today's section, I would like to remind you all that whenever we're done with the class and an update is dropped on the group, make sure you reply, you react to all the messages that are dropped so that we can know that you're active, because very soon we are going to start removing people that are active from the group. So whenever a video is dropped, make sure you an update is dropped, right? Make sure you react to the message so we can know you're active. And whenever you're told to watch a video too on YouTube, don't forget to always do that so that you can stay updated with the course curriculum, right? So I'm dropping a message now. If you're on this class, please kindly react so we can know that you're active. Um, yeah, so don't forget to always watch the YouTube videos, right? Because it's very, very important, right? So if you're on this class now, make sure you react to the message on WhatsApp so I can know you're active. Okay, I can see some people reacting already. I can see Raphael, Amid, I can see AY, I can see Denike, I can see Abdul Fattah, I can see Dabsin, I can see Williams. Are these all the people that are active? So today we'll be talking about introduction to data. We'll be talking about introduction to data and data types, right? So as I said earlier, our classes are not going to be taking much of your time. 1 hour max meeting. So today's instructor Janet is going to be taking you on introduction to data and data types. So make sure you pay attention, have your note and pen ready to jot down what she's going to be saying. And within 50 minutes or thereabouts, she's 40 minutes, 30 minutes, she's going to be done with her class. So we're going to wrap up today's class. So Janet, over to you.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I hope we are all doing fine. And I want to welcome us again to the day two of to the second introductory class for this program, for this initiative. So today, as earlier stated, we are going to be taking introduction to data and data types. So we'll be working with my slides. So I'll share my screen now. Okay, so can you see my screen, please? Oh, you can see my screen. Okay, so once again, good morning. And yes, introduction to data and data types. So before I go on, can anyone just tell me what he or she knows about data? What do you think data is? If I ask you that, okay, hi, good morning, good afternoon. What is data? What do you think data is? So anyone?
Data are raw facts that are not
Okay,
processed yet.
okay. That's beautiful. Anyone else? Okay, so let's continue. What he said was actually very, very correct. So these are the aims and our objectives for the class. So before we move on, let me introduce myself. My name is Adelike Janet. I am a part three pharmacy student of Obafemi Awolowo University, and I'm a data analyst. Okay, so let's continue. Let's move on.
That person, that's my code.
Okay,
No, that's not
someone
my
is
phone.
unmuted. Can you
No,
mute your?
when I say everybody don't bring a thing. Who now knows this one?
Okay, Nofisat, data are raw facts collected either through interviews or questionnaires and unprocessed. Okay, that's very correct. Okay, so let's move on. What is data? From my definition here, it says that data is a collection of facts, figures, and symbols that convey information. Okay, so someone is unmuted. Please, someone is unmuted. Please, can you mute your mic? Okay, moving on. This definition, it implies that data can be anything. It's a collection of facts, of figures, symbols that convey information. So far anything can depict something. It can tell you information about something. It can mean, you can get inference from it. It is a data. For example, now we can say, if I tell you that the lady is on green, or the lady wore a green dress, it is a data. Why? Because it conveys an information. What I just said, from it you can infer that okay, that lady is on green. If you see someone on green in that place, you will know that okay, this is the person that Janet is talking about. So data can be anything. It's not only numbers, because when you ask people now, maybe you that are learning data analysis, most people, they are too quick to think of data as numbers or something that you can express in spreadsheet format. But no, data is not always in numeric format. Data, like this picture shows, like it is in this picture now, it can be quantities, information, graph, measurement, observation, facts, numbers. Can say the man is maybe 5 feet tall. That's also a data because it conveys information. For instance, the score of a basketball game, maybe 98 points now, is data because it is telling us the score of that particular basketball game. So data can come in numbers, in words, images, audio, and videos. For example, let's just check few examples of this. Like numbers now, we can have test scores, can have population count, can have temperature, you can have weight, and maybe height, age. All these ones, they are examples of data. We can have text. So data can be in text formats. Examples, we have customer feedback, maybe feedbacks from your customers. If you are running maybe a store or something, feedbacks from your customer, they are also data because when you work on them, they will be able to give you information about something about your business, and they'll be able to tell you what to do and what not to do. We have names of people too, is a form of data. We have social media comments, they are also forms of data. Why are they forms of data or examples of data? Because they convey information about something. Images too are forms of data, to the examples of data, because when you take pictures of something, you'll be able to get information about that particular thing. Okay, if you take a picture of maybe a place now, you want to maybe run a study on that place, taking pictures of that place, you'll be able to know that okay, this place is bushy, this place is neat, this place is maybe you will be able to have specific information about that particular place. So data can be in form of images too. Even medical scans too, they're also data because you can get information from them. Audios, recordings of speeches, interviews, and all, they are also forms of data. So data, I just want, with this slide, I just want you to know that data can be anything. Don't narrow your mind down to data a being something that can just be expressed in spreadsheet format, or maybe Excel in rows and columns. No, data is basically anything that convey information. So let's move on to importance of data. I have, the list is endless, but let me just explain the ones I have here. The first thing is informed decision making. Data helps us make decisions. For example, let's say you own a store, or you own a store, let me just use store, and you want to maybe add something else, to you want to start selling something else. If you do it using your own intuition, you might not get the desired results you want. But when you work with data, when you get data of what people like, and then you make your decisions based on what people like, you are going to find out that it is going to favor you at the end of the day. So that's why you see big companies, whenever they want to make decisions, they don't just use their gut feeling, they don't use their maybe intuition, they don't use what they feel is right, but they work based on data sets, they work based on data, they analyze data of people, of or maybe of their customers, and then they use it to make decisions. Because if you do that, you are going to be working based on what will give you profit, what will give you maximum profit. Another one is strategic planning. Companies, stores, and even academic settings, they use data to plan long-term strategies. For example, let's use maybe a car manufacturer now, not in Nigeria though, maybe in a big state or in a big country. If you have a car manufacturer, you want the car manufacturer might want to look at data showing that people will tend to buy cars that are maybe electronic vehicles, maybe because I don't know, people will prefer it. So when you see that people prefer this, for your planning and everything you're going to do, you're going to streamline it to that to that information gotten from data. Also, performance measurement. Data helps organizations to measure how well they are doing. For example, we have reports too. Let me show you something. I think yes, this is a report, and this is a sales report, and I did this from the data of the particular um of the store. Now from this, you can be able to measure the performance of this store, because if you see, okay, the sum of sales they had, or the amount they made is this is the total quantity that they sold. Okay, this is branch A sold this, branch B sold this, branch C sold this. So this I got this from the data. So basically, data helps to measure your performance, and a good example of this too is students in schools. They use their grades to measure how well they are learning. What your scores in your maybe test or exams, is an indication to show how well you are learning what your teacher is teaching you. Also, competitive advantage. By When you analyze data now, businesses will be able to figure out how to beat competition, in the sense that a business that wants to maybe take decisions or do something, when they use data, they are always at higher advantage than others. Another advantage of importance of data now is for market understanding. Data helps us to understand what customers actually want. It helps us to understand what customers need, because you cannot use your own feeling to judge what people want. Maybe as a coffee seller, something like that, or maybe I sell coffee now. I actually need data to run my business, because I might be someone that does not take sugar, and then maybe most of your customers, they love sugar. So if I make decisions based on what I feel is right, I will end up running at a loss. But then I actually need data to understand the market, to understand what people want, and then do my thing according to what will pay them and what will pay me, something what will pay me in profits. Okay, so the next importance of data is for pattern recognition and trend monitoring. Okay, the explanation is data is basically like a detective. It will show that, okay, this particular time sales is always more, this particular time sales is always less. Let me use market for example, or maybe all these malls, big malls and all. If you notice, on Fridays they ten d to have more sales, and Saturdays than maybe Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. All these things we got them from the data. We got these insights from the data of malls, that okay, how this is how this. So that particular information you have, you're going to use it to streamline what your operations to that information, to the pattern and to the trend that you've observed from your data. Also, risk management. When you have businesses and companies, they use data to identify risk, to identify future risk, and then they make preparations and plans towards it. Also, policy development. Data helps with data, you'll be able to have policies, you'll be able to create policies that make your business go well. Okay, now we have examples of data, numbers, words, measurements, observations, description. So now characteristics of data for analysis. Please, are we still following? If you are following, okay. Okay, thank you. Characteristics of data for analysis. Anytime you want to analyze data, you cannot just use any form of data. There are some criteria that your data has to meet. There are some particular things that if your data does not have them, you cannot actually use it for analysis. And if you use it for analysis, you're going to get a wrong data. And I'm sure we know that the end goal of data analysis is to get insights from your data. For example, what I said earlier, the lady wore a green dress. You are just the data just shows us what the lady is putting on, something like that. So there are some particular things that your data should have that will make it suitable for analysis. The first one is accuracy. So any data you want to use for analysis must be accurate, in the sense that if you are getting data and it's not accurate, you are going to get your analysis, you analyze it and you're going to get a result, but the result you get will most likely not be accurate, in the sense that you are going to be getting a false result, and that is going to give you problems later on. Let's assume you are working for a big company and you are using a data that is not accurate. You find out that you get your analysis and then you are going to give them maybe recommendations, you give them insights based on the analysis you've made. But when they use it, most likely it's going to run them at a loss because the data you used is not accurate. So anytime you want to run analysis, you want to do data analysis, you want to analyze a particular data, make sure the data you are using is accurate. So the next thing is completeness. The data, any data you want to use for analysis must be complete. You cannot tell me you want to analyze data for maybe to know how students are interested in academics or in education, and then you are just asking them, are you interested in education, yes or no? Or maybe you're asking them questions that just that you find you will do your analysis, but then you are going to need more things to do your analysis. So your data, any data you want to use for analysis must be complete. When you want to analyze a data now to get insights from it, you should first check, am I sure this particular data set has everything I need? If yes, then you are fine. But if it does not have, you can always reach out to your stakeholders that okay, this data is not complete. I need more. I need this. I need that, and then you are going to work your way around it. The third thing is consistency. Your data has to be uniform. Any data you're going to use for analysis must be uniform, in the sense that we know that Excel spreadsheets is in form of rows and columns. Let's say a column is for dates, for instance, maybe a date column. The format of date should be, it has to be consistent, in the sense that if it is month slash date slash year, maybe okay, let's use the normal one that we know about, day slash month slash year. Let's say 02. Okay, what's today's date? I think today is 11th of 11/10/2024. The next one you should have should be in that particular format. In that particular format, it must be consistent. If you are using a data set that is not consistent, you will end up getting a wrong analysis, and it will it will it will frustrate you at the end. So this is a reason why when you get your data, these things you should check for them. The data set I have, is it consistent? Maybe you have and other things like maybe name. If you have a column that contains name now, if it is surname first, middle name and last name, that's how the format should be from the beginning to the end. So any data set you must use for your analysis must be consistent throughout, and this helps to avoid confusion. So the next point I have here is timeliness. Your data should be up to date. Any data you want to use for analysis, it must be up to date, in the sense that old data can lead to incorrect decisions. Let's assume you want to analyze data that has to do with cars, or maybe you want to make research on cars. You cannot tell me you are using data sets of maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, because the taste of those people then is different from what people like now. So if you are using that data set, you end up getting wrong decisions. It will make you get wrong insights, and what you are going to do won't be up to date. The decisions you make, it will most likely not favor the time you are in. So anytime you want to analyze data, make sure the data is up to date. For instance, let's say a business that wants to use 5 years ago data to make plans, or to make plans on what to do this year, it won't work out, because the particular business might miss out on current trends. And I'm sure we know that trends are not static. What is going on last year is obviously different from what is going on this year. What people like last year is obviously different from what they like this year. So the last thing I'll talk about now is relevance. Any data you want to use for your analysis, it must be relevant to the question you are trying to answer, or to the end goal of your analysis. In the sense that, the example I stated earlier, maybe make you want to analyze data sets, and you want to understand why students are not interested in education, why some students don't want to go to school. You cannot tell me you are going to hospital to get data sets from people. No. You have to go to the right places to get your data. You have to go to relevant places to get your data. And any data you have, it must be related to the question you are trying to answer. Or, another example is, if you are studying maybe spending habits of teenagers, you want to know how teenagers spend, or how well they spend, how well they save. Data about senior citizens, old people, and maybe young people, people that are not teenagers, they will not be relevant for you that time. Or if they will be, I they will most likely not be relevant. In fact, they are not relevant for you, because you are studying the spending habits of teenagers. So the data you have must be pointing to something that has to be we must be pointing to teenagers, and must be from teenagers. So there are more, but these are just the basic ones, the basic characteristics of any data we want to use for analysis. The next thing that I want to talk about now is data types, types of data. Basically we have two types of data. We have the qualitative data type, and then we have the categorical data and the quantitative data type. Now let's pick it one by one. Let's start with qualitative. As the name implies, qualitative, and it is also called categorical data. Qualitative data type is non-numeric, in the sense that it's not numbers. It can be words, it can be any other thing, but then it is not numeric. So it describes qualities or characteristics. The example I cited earlier, the lady is on a green dress. It is a qualitative data, because it is non-numeric, and then it describes the qualities of it describes the lady, it describes what the lady is putting on. So we have qualitative, and then it is also called categorical data. A lot of times people use categorical. This is a categorical data, categorical. So just know that data can be qualitative or quantitative, and know that qualitative data is a non-numeric. It is not expressed in numbers. So it can now be divided into two subgroups. We have ordinal, and then we have the nominal. Ordinal data is a kind of data that is ordered, in the sense that one let me use this example now. Test grade, let's say A, B, C, D, E. We know that A is different from B, is different from C, is different from D, and is different from E. And we know that there is a particular order, there is a defined order in the test grade, in the sense that someone that has A has a higher rank than someone that has B, and someone that has a B has a higher score than someone that has a C. So there is a defined order in ordinal data. So when they ask you that, okay, what is ordinal data, you know that the first thing that should come to your mind is that it is categorical, it is qualitative, is non-numeric. And then the other thing you should know that ordinal data is ordered. It has a predefined order. Another example is your level of satisfaction. If you are working on maybe a company or a customer, something that has to do with a customer thing, level of if you get data set from them and then you ask for their level of satisfaction, you can ask them if it is high, medium or low. It is an ordinal data type in the sense that those that there is a predefined order. Okay, high is actually higher than medium, medium is higher than low. So categorical data, ordinal data rather, it shows a defined order. So the next type of qualitative data type is nominal. It is also categorical in the sense that it is not numeric, but it does not have a specific order. An example here is nationality. I'm a Nigerian, someone else is a let's say Ghanaian. There is no defined order that okay, a Ghanaian is greater than a Nigerian or a Nigerian is greater than a Ghanaian. Another example is eye color, gender and nationality. Yes. Cannot tell me that someone that has a brown eye color is maybe in a way greater than someone that has a black eye color or someone that has a maybe other colors. So that's basically what you should know about qualitative data type. Please, I hope we are following. Do we understand what I've been explaining? Let me just okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Now that's all about qualitative data, and let's move to the next one. That's quantitative data. So quantitative data is also called numeric data. When you see it, it is expressed in numbers. So it's numeric data or qualitative data type. It represents quantities or measurements. So we have examples like height. Now you can say, okay, I am maybe the guy is 6'5" tall, maybe the book is 20 or 30 centimeter long, and also we have age too. I'm 20 years old, I'm 30 years old. We have other things like revenue, maybe the cost price of something, temperature, your weight. They are all examples of quantitative data type. And as the name implies, quantitative, it shows quantity, how much something is, and it is numeric. So it can also be divided into two different subgroups. We have continuous and then we have discrete. Now the discrete let's start with discrete. It is more of a countable data type that can take certain values. If you are talking about discrete data type, it can just take certain values. It can take maybe 20 or 30, and then it is a countable data type, something that you can count. For example, population. You can say, okay, the number of students there are 20. You cannot say, okay, 20, 20, 20. You cannot say, okay, 20.5. Usually, discrete data type, they don't take decimal points. You cannot tell me you have 12.5 students in a class. You cannot tell me that you have 10.5 cats maybe in a house or something. So they are always in whole number format. They're always in whole number. You cannot express them in maybe half or something, and then it can only take certain values. So we have examples: number of cars, number of products sold, quantity sold, and all. So those ones are discrete data. But continuous data, on the other hand, they are data that can take any value within a given range. Within a range, let's use height as an example now. Height, for example, is there is a particular range that you can have your height. You cannot say someone is maybe 100 feet. No. And also height can, so far it is from this range to this range, you can take any figure, any decimal, maybe point 55555. If you have the time, you can be checking that, you can check height to that particular level. But the fact is that it can take any value within a range. There is a range for it. Also age too. Well, cannot tell me that someone is maybe 100, 1 million years. There's a particular that continuous data. Usually there's a pre there's a predefined range for it, something like that, but we don't take note of it because it's something that we all know. We have temperature too. Maybe temperature of the human body can say, okay, someone is this person is maybe 37, the temperature of someone is maybe 37 degrees Celsius, 36 or something in that range. So there are some particular things that you see that no, this is not within this range. So know that continuous data, it's basically, it's most times deals with measurements, like I said, height, weight, temperature, and also time is also an example of continuous data type. Okay, so I hope we understand data types. Let's move on to data sources. We have two major data sources. The first one is primary and the second one is secondary, as the name implies now. Primary data sources, they are data that you collect for yourself, that you collect by yourself. For example, maybe you are a final year student and you want to make your research work is on maybe a particular topic, and then you get your questionnaires, you send it to people, you send it to different people that, okay, please help me fill this questionnaire, and then you analyze that particular data gotten from the questionnaire. That is an example of a primary data source because you got the data yourself. Also, interviews, surveys and all, they are all primary data. And then we know that primary data, they are usually very reliable because it is a first hand data. You are the one collecting the data, so it is very reliable. Then secondary data on the other hand is a data that is collected from is a data from someone else, that or from someone else that has collected the data. So you are collecting data from someone else. So this is a data that someone else has already collected. For instance, maybe using government statistics or reports, something like that. Those ones, because you are not the one that will collect data from maybe government side. You their government has their own data already. So if you want to analyze something based on that, you're going to get data from them. You're going to get data from them. So that is not a primary data because you are not the one getting the data from the respondent yourself. We have different sites that we can get secondary data online and can get from cargo.com and all. So that's one thing about secondary data. Um Secondary data is always useful because it is quicker, it's very quick to get and it is very cheap, in the sense that some people they can wait for days. Some people even take up to a month to send questionnaires to get a particular number. Some people, maybe you need 1,000 responses. It's not easy to get 1,000 responses. But if you are using a secondary data, you just get your data and start working on it. Okay, it is cheaper because you just download it and use. Okay, please don't mind the background noise. I'm at home. And okay, another thing about secondary data is that it might not be tailored to your specific needs. Maybe you want to get data from a from government statistics now, and you have something in mind. Maybe you want to know the amount of people that pay tax. When they were collecting that data, they did not have it in mind, in the sense that they did not know that, okay, this person is coming to get this data and wants to use it for tax, so let's just collect data for only tax. No, secondary data is usually not always streamlined. Is it that you just get your data and then you streamline it? Okay, I need this, leave it. I don't need this, you remove it. So usually when you get your secondary data, is not always, it might is there are sometimes I get data that are always okay, that will address what you want exactly, no removing, no adding or anything. But sometimes it might not be tailored to your specific needs the way primary data source is. Okay, let's now move on. We have data can either be structured or unstructured. Okay, but let's start with structured data. This slide says it is a data that is organized and formatted in specific structure, making it easy to analyze. So structured data, usually they are neatly organized, they are easy to analyze, just like maybe information on data on spreadsheets, on Excel formats, on Excel spreadsheets now. when you get data type, when you get a data on Excel spreadsheet, it's always easy for you to analyze. Another example is database. You can always extract your data, and then you can just get your data and then start your work on it immediately. Okay, you start your cleaning, start your this, you analyze, okay, check this, check that. That's structured data. It is always very easy to analyze. Let's just say, maybe imagine you have a table listing students' names on one column, age on another column, and test score. When you get a data like that, you know that you can always start your analysis. You can always do your analysis on it anytime. You can just start immediately. So usually they are organized into rows and columns, and it's always easy to perform calculations, comparisons, and all on structured data. But on the other hand, unstructured data, as the name implied, unstructured, they don't have a specific structure. They lack organization or predefined structure, and is often harder to analyze. So this type of data does not follow a set format, does not follow a specific format, and usually it is harder to analyze compared to structured data type. For example, we have social media posts, emails or videos and all. So let's say there's something we call content analysis. They won't give you data in spreadsheet format. They can send maybe con ten t to you, or social media post. They will send link to a social media post. They will tell you that work on this on the comment section, and then use it to answer these particular questions. Something like that is usually not as easy as structured data, in the sense that you just have to, okay, arrange it. They are usually very messy because they don't fit into a neat table. You have to work on some things on that unstructured data before you can start your analysis. So also we have feedbacks from customers, maybe customer reviews. They are also forms of unstructured data. So they need special tools to be able to sift through the text and then pull out the things you need, pull out the important information you need. So with this, I think we've we've um we've explained what data is, and then what data is not, in the sense that data is not only numeric format. Data is not always only in numeric format. So I don't know, does anyone have any question? If you have question based on what I just explained, please can you unmute yourself and ask? Okay. These reactions I'm seeing, is it that you have a question? If you have question, you can just unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, Ajayi Toluwani, do you have a question? Okay. In the absence, or is I hope, let me just wait for a few. Okay. Okay, your question is that under unstructured data, is it that we are going to convert it to structured data? I'm trying to load it here. Okay, from what I can read from what you sent, the question is still loading. It depends on what you want to do. It depends on the analysis you want to make. If you want to analyze something that you need it to be in structured format, well, you can always do it like that. But sometimes I really am not a content analyst, but there are some people that specialize in it. You can decide to maybe get information from your data and then put it in a structured format and then work on it. But usually that's what they should do. Most times that's what they do. So that's it. But sometimes they might not need to put it in a structured format. They can just maybe get some information from it and then work on it and then use it to do the analysis. But most times they convert it to structured data, then work on it. But it's very rare for you to get data in unstructured format. It's very rare. It's very, very, very rare. But then I hope I've answered your question. It actually depends on what you want to do, the type of analysis you want to do. But basically, most times they convert it to structured data. They convert it to a predefined structure before they run the analysis, before they get analysis. And then they have maybe it is a maybe it's an interview or something. You have to listen to you have to listen to it, you have to get your data. Okay, maybe this person said is satisfied, you put it there. Maybe this person said is not satisfied, you put it there. And then with all those things, you work on it, and then you're going to run your analysis. So I hope I've answered your question, Raphael. Okay, okay, you're welcome. Anyone else? Does anyone else have?
Yeah. Good morning, ma. Yeah, I have a question to ask.
Okay,
I've heard of integer, floats, and boolean, so things like that, as a type of data, but
data.
it was not mentioned. I don't know. I'm confused.
Okay, yes, these ones too are data types, but the class now is just to explain the broad knowledge, the broad data types in this is in a broader view. Okay, integers, floats, and all. We have objects too, we have date, time, and all. They're also data types, but then they are actually more specific. They are more specific. For example, okay, we have date, time, format. These things, they are stuff that we are going to make mention of when we start working on data analysis, or when we start working on maybe Excel, when we start working on Python. We are going to talk about, okay, the data types we have in Python, the data types we have in Excel. Maybe Excel uses general, date, time, accounting, something like that. But Python does not use that. So I think that's why I just used the class is just to like give an overview of what everything is. Okay, this one is quantitative, this one is qualitative. So these ones we are still going to talk about it, but then that's not like the aim of this class. We are still going to do it when we go deep into the data analysis. But yes, you are correct. We have floats, we have different data types, we have time, we have a lot of things like that. So yes, you are very correct, but we are going to talk about that later on in class. So today is just to talk about the to differentiate the data, the broad data types we have, the categorical and the numerical. So that's just it. I hope I've answered the question. Okay. Nafisat, you're asking that what is data cleaning?
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, data cleaning um is a process of removing noise from your data. Is a process of converting your data to a form that you can actually work on. For example, maybe if someone sends a data set to you, and you have to like check the data for okay, I mentioned something that your data must be consistent. In data cleaning, you check for consistency. You have to make sure your data is consistent. Data cleaning is basically getting your data ready for analysis. There are some things that you don't need in your in for your analysis. Data cleaning process helps you to remove those things. In data cleaning, maybe you don't need something, you don't need a particular row, you don't need this, you don't need that. You remove it when you are cleaning your data. You remove maybe outliers. For example, maybe in age column now, you have people's age, you have 14, 15, you have 20, you have 35. So if you now see something like maybe 800 or 900, you know that obviously is an error, is a mistake. So data cleaning is just that kind of thing. You remove it because, or you get back to your stakeholder, okay, see this, see this, see that. Data cleaning is just preparing your data for analysis, so that you're going to run your analysis effortlessly. You're not going to be struggling that, okay, why is this like this? Why is this like this? It's just a way of preparing your data for analysis. You remove things that are meant to remove. You make sure the data is consistent, and then you do some things that will make sure that you run a clean, a very correct analysis. So have I answered your question, Officers? Okay, okay. Thank you. Do we have other questions? Um, okay, let me wait for 1 minute. Maybe someone is typing. Oh, you're welcome, Samson Adekunle. Okay, okay. You are welcome, Olaleye Abdufatai. So I hope we understood everything that that was taught. Okay, you're welcome, everyone. So I think we don't have questions again. So with this, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Instructor Janet. So, to add to what Janet have said, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. So to add to what Instructor Janet has said, if you remember during the last class of Introduction to Data Analysis and Data Visualization, I mentioned about data cleaning too. So data cleaning is very, very important, right? If you don't clean your data and you want to analyze your data sets, trust me, you're going to be analyzing stuff that are not accurate, right? So it's very, very important to analyze your data sets before you start your analysis, right? So you will hear most data analysts saying that the stressful part is not actually um, making analysis of the data. Most data analysts spend time on cleaning the data set alone, right? If you are given a data set that is cleaned, trust me, you're very, very lucky because those data that they are giving, it's people that filled it, right? So there's some people that when they are filling forms, they'll just leave some filled blanks, right? So people they ask for your first name, email, phone number, are you single, stuff like that. So people will just fill their name and email and they'll just click submit, right? I'm sure there are people like these two on this meeting that when you're giving forms, you don't fill the forms correctly, you don't fill it fully, right? So that's when you are giving a data analyst job to do by cleaning those data sets that you did not feel, right? So if you don't clean your data set and you're trying to make analysis, right, you're going to have issues while making the analysis. You're not going to make correct analysis, and we don't want that, right? So very good. So since Instructor Janet has answered everyone, um, next week we're going to also do introduction to some other programming languages too, right? Somebody asked questions about float, integer, data type. That's very correct. So they are all categories under some data types that Instructor Janet said to you. You know, we have categorical data sets, we have numerical stuff like that. So what you mentioned is just under part of them, right? And we're going to get deeper into that. So float, integer, stuff like that are under Python, JavaScript, and stuff like that. So when we get there, we're going to get to understand very well. We're making progress, and um before next week, you're going to be told to watch some videos to install some software that you're going to need for your class, so that when we start class, you're going to follow along, code along with us. You're going to install some personal software that we're going to make video of. So don't worry if you are new. We're going to make video of how to install those software step by step. So make sure you stay tuned. So I want to ask a quick question: does everyone have Excel here on the system? If you have Excel on your system, kindly, okay, if you don't have Excel on your system, kindly drop it. Just drop it in the chat so that I can see it. If you don't have Excel, if you have Excel, just reply with stickers. Let me see you. If you have Excel, very good. Rachel, I see you. Salimo, I see you. You have Excel. Fortune, I see you have Excel. If you don't have Excel, kindly signify so that we can make a detailed video for you how to install Excel step by step. All right. So I'm assuming. Okay, Abdul Fattah, you don't have Excel, right? Please, you have to reply so that we'll know if we have to make a detailed video for you guys. All right, everyone have Excel, right? So I'm still going to drop a poll on the group to see. You're saying yes. Are you saying yes that you have Excel or yes that you don't have Excel? Um, well, anyone you're saying right, I'm going to drop a poll on the group to see. Okay, you don't have, right? Very good. So if you don't have Excel, don't worry. We're going to teach you how to install Excel and set it up. I'm going to drop a poll on the group to also ask people if they have Excel or not. So the response will determine if we're going to make a video for you guys, right? So with that being said, stay tuned. Please make sure to react to all the messages that are dropped on the group so that we can know you're active, right? Very soon we're going to start removing people from the group that are not active. So you want to make sure that you reply to all messages, you watch the video, even if you attend the class, right? And a video of the previous class was sent. Make sure to go to that video and drop a comment and like the video so that we can know that okay, we're making progress, right? So with that being said, thank you all for joining today's class. Updates will be dropped on the group on when your next class is going to hold next week. So stay tuned and see you guys in the next one.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Raphael. You're welcome, Fortune. You're welcome, Moses. You're welcome, Abdul Fattah. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, Nafisat.